SuperTalk. We've got a man with a chicken on his shirt in studio. Normally, he would join us on the Farm Bureau phone line, but he is in studio. Steve Jent, Executive Director of the Sanderson Farms Championship. For my money, the event that has the best logo and the best trophy in all of sports. What's up, Steve?
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Thanks for having me. First of all, I appreciate it. It's actually kind of nice to be seen and get out for a change.
That's a new thing, huh?
It is. Well, hopefully it's here to stay. But I would agree. We love the logo. We love the trophy. It's very unique. Mr. Sanderson designed it about 7 years ago, and it definitely gets talked about. It's pretty cool.
We had an extended debate one day about where that trophy ranks in all of sports. And I mean, the Lombardi Trophy, okay, yeah. Lord Stanley's Cup, I mean, that's a thing. You know, maybe the Commissioner's Trophy and the World Series. But outside of those three, I kind of think it's there.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, obviously in golf, you know, you've got the Wanamaker, the huge Wanamaker Cup with, with the PGA Championship and there's a lot of really
the
good
Claret
ones out
Jug's
there.
pretty good also.
The Claret Jug's pretty good. The U.S. Open, I mean, it's all, and listen, the green jacket, I mean, it's all really good. But we had it designed by a company out in California to Joe's specifications of a Chanticleer rooster. And as we progress as a golf tournament, the trophy is going to progress also. So it's pretty cool.
Well, it certainly is something that people talk about. Are we going to be talking about the field this year in terms of how it stacks up and what it looks like?
I hope so before too long. With us being the start of the new FedEx Cup season, there's still a lot of golf to be played this season. We've still got the U.S. Open this week, and you've got the Open Championship and the FedEx Cup playoffs and everything still. So a lot of what happens this summer and what's happened already kind of sets what a guy wants to do and player wants to do in the fall. So we really don't even start getting our competition list until maybe a month out, something like that. It'll be a very, very good field. We've done all the right things in the last few years to make it appealing for the world's best golfers. And the recognition we got last year and the feedback we got last year from players like Sergio and and the guys that were here, we think it'll be special again for sure.
Is there an advantage to being that first event of the new schedule? And we've talked a lot in the past about placement on the calendar and, what's the ideal time and is the fall right? Or, you'd rather be in the summer and weather and all of those things. Being the start of the new year, is there something to that?
Yeah, I think more and more we're seeing that it's a great spot to be in as the players figure out that they can't wait until late January, early February, the West Coast swing, the Florida swing to get started. With the FedEx Cup playoffs and the point system, you win once in the fall. Right after that, it really does kind of get your year kick started. I think the other thing we've got the advantage about being in the fall is that when you win an event on the PGA Tour, your status means that you are exempt for that season and the next two. So when you win in the fall with us, and we're actually if you count the Ryder Cup, we're actually the third event this year, but when you win in the fall, it's essentially a 3-year exemption on the PGA Tour. So you've got status and job security for 3 years. So it's a big deal for somebody. Obviously Sergio's has a lot of status already, right? But for somebody like a Cameron Champ or a Sebastian Munoz, 3 years of job security is huge. And so I think the fall events are getting more and more attention than they had before.
What does a guy like Sergio with that name recognition mean? What does that mean for the tournament?
Yeah, I mean, one, we were thrilled for him to win because his first PGA Tour win since he won the Masters in 2017. He'd won a couple times on the European Tour, but we've had some good champions, right? And it's not anything, saying anything against the guys that had won our tournament because they're all great guys. And hey, they beat the other 143 guys that were there that week, right?
Sure.
But when you have a champion like Sergio, it puts a little bit of a mark on it, and it might get some of the other top players in the world to kind of give it notice, right? And Sergio loved the golf course. We hear year in and year out best Bermuda greens on the PGA Tour all year long. It's a course that anyone can win on. If you look at the statistics, I mean, Cameron Champ, I think he was second and third in driving distance this year. He won 3 years ago. The year before that, Ryan Armour won. And Ryan's very accurate, but he doesn't have the length Cameron does. So it's a golf course that if you play well, you've got an opportunity to score and you can be rewarded. And they don't get that every week. So when somebody like Sergio wins and Sergio's up and down the driving range from week in and week out, and a guy says, "Hey, Sergio, what do you think of playing in Mississippi?" And it kind of just says, "Guys, you need to give this a shot." And it's
do those conversations happen?
Oh yeah, all week long, and I don't know how much they're happening now. I mean, with COVID,
Sure.
But the players and their caddies are still on the range. I can't go on the range at PGA Tour event yet, but they happen. And these guys talk about everything, right? They don't, they're talking about big green eggs and they're talking about where to go out to eat and the latest cars they bought. But they do talk about, hey, what did you think when you were there? And I had a great conversation with Stuart Sink a couple months ago, and I said, Stuart, he's been here the last couple years. Obviously, he's a major champion. He's been out there for a long time. I wanted to get his take on his experience here, and I said, what are we doing right? What do we need to improve upon? And he said, Steve, you guys are doing all the right things. He said, Jackson's an easy city to visit. Mississippi has great people, great hospitality. You've got phenomenal restaurants in that city. It's easy to get around, and you've got a great golf course and great facilities. He goes, you're doing all the right things. Let it grow organically, and I promise you, you guys are going to take off. So, I mean, when someone like Stuart says that, you're like, oh, that's okay.
So there's something to that, and then that kind of ties back into Sanderson Farms and Joe Sanderson and their long-term commitment to the success of this event. Because you have that, can you do what Stuart Sink said and let it grow a little more organically than maybe if you're wondering year to year, are we going to be able to get the sponsorship dollars?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly an advantage. I mean, and Joe and his entire team at Sanderson Farms are I think they're the best title sponsor on the PGA Tour. Sorry, everybody else, but they're great people.
Not that you're biased.
Not that I'm biased at all. I mean, but they're great people, and they're in it because, Joe didn't want Mississippi to lose their PGA Tour event, and he wanted to generate dollars towards, Children's of Mississippi and through the Friends of Children's Hospital organization. And that's why he's in it. Joe has never asked me what our TV rating was on Sunday. I mean, and how many times his logo gets displayed. He's truly in it for the right reasons, for the state of Mississippi and charity. And when you start that way, I mean, it gives you some room to just try to do some things to make the event better. And I think when the players are here and people are here in town, they feel that, and it's pretty special.
Yeah. How much recruiting do you do? I mean, you said you can't go on the range in an event right now, but in a normal time where you do have access, are you going to PGA events and trying to talk players and convince them to come?
I do. I mean, I go to probably 6 or 7 a year, and I try to kind of rotate the ones that I go to because I'm also looking to kind of see what's everybody else doing. I mean, what are they doing for concessions? What's their build like? What are their events like? So it's not just about talking to the players, but I don't ever want to be a tournament director that a player runs from. And what I mean is, if you ask a guy point blank, are you coming this year? It puts him in a corner where he has to say yes or no. You really just want to be there to form relationships. And so you're there if a guy has a question about, hey, Steve, where should I stay? Tell me about the great restaurants. Can you help me find a house? What's going on here? Tell me about the greens. Have you guys made any changes? It's about having a relationship to be able to have those conversations down the road. So you have to be visible, and you have to kind of be out there, talking, to the players and let them know who you are. And, you try to be very respectful with them. I mean, when they're on the range, they're there to do a job. I mean, that whole week long. It's kind of like if somebody shows up at my office this morning at 9:15 and wants to stare at me while I do emails. It's just awkward, right? But I also have some time where I walk to the fridge and get a drink, and I'm willing to chat about stuff. So you have to kind of know the right way to approach it when you're at an event. I would tell you there are two things the players look at most is schedule and golf course. And again, we've not done anything in either way, to have either of those be a detriment to us.
Yeah. Visiting with Steve Jent. He's the Executive Director of the Sanderson Farms Championship. We will talk with him when we come back about the U.S. Open. I want to follow up on what we were just talking about on the recruiting piece and what type of event it makes sense for him to go to. Do you go to the U.S. Open, or are you better off going and talking to guys at the Valspar? And we'll ask him the question that I know is burning for everybody. If he gets a commitment from Brooks and Bryson, will they be paired together? That's what we got to get to next. Sports Talk Mississippi, streaming at supertalk.fm. Don't go. Always enjoy our conversations with Steve Jent. Hopefully these are going to be a little more frequent as we get closer to the Sanderson Farms Championship. I should have this etched into my mind. I don't. Where on the calendar exactly does it fall, and where is it exactly in relation to the Ryder Cup?
Sure. So we're the week of September 27th. Championship Sunday will be on October 3rd. Okay. It'll be the week right after the Ryder Cup. So they'll finish up at the Tour Championship. I believe there's a week off. And again, the Tour hasn't officially announced the schedule, but all of us have our individual dates already listed on our website. So I believe there's a week off. They play the Fortinet Championship or the Fortinet Open, I think, in Napa, Ryder Cup, and then us. So we're a month after the Tour Championship in Atlanta at East Lake.
So I alluded to this before the break. I'm fascinated by this whole kind of recruiting, but gently recruiting players and making them know that they're wanted. I mean, does it make sense for you to go to the U.S. Open or to the Tour Championship or to the PGA, or is it better off for you to go to Congaree last week and Valspar and Napa?
Yeah, honestly.
Maybe not Napa because of where it is on the calendar, but you get what I'm saying.
Right. I mean, the majors are tough. I mean, they are pressure cooker situations. Obviously, those are what kind of defines a player's career, right? We all know the list of the major champions, right? We can rattle them off. So it's a tough week. It's a week where you kind of just want to stay out of the way. The way I kind of describe it is if I'm a general physician and I'm trying to remove a gallbladder, you don't want to do it in the middle of the mosh pit at a Maroon 5 concert, right? I mean, it's just a hard environment to be in, and you just don't want to add anything to it. They're already, they've got so many requests tugged on them about friends and family wanting tickets, and a lot of the agents are there. So you're absolutely right. I can get more accomplished if I go to the Wyndham Championship or the 3M Open or go to the AT&T in Dallas. I mean, it's just. They tend to be a little more laid back. The guys are a little more relaxed. It's not that they don't want to win those. Trust me. I mean, but it's just, and plus, I don't have a credential for any of the majors. I have a credential for every PGA Tour event, and I can get one, but I just don't want to add to the chaos at a U.S. Open. So. When
is the last time a general physician was in a mosh pit at a Maroon 5 concert?
I don't know. Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of them are in the mosh pits at the Maroon 5 concert, but just not trying to, do their craft. But
yeah, maybe so.
So. Yeah.
All right. So when you get a commitment from Bryson DeChambeau and when you get a commitment from Brooks Koepka, are you going to pair those guys together for the first two rounds?
Well, it's not up to me, so I'm going to just qualify that right there. I have absolutely nothing to do with the competition. The PGA Tour has some phenomenal rules officials, and they will decide if those guys get to be paired up. On Thursday and Friday, the Tour has done a phenomenal job doing with some featured pairings.
Right.
You would probably want Bryson in the afternoon on Thursday and Brooks in the afternoon on Friday, right? So a guy's either going to go early, late, or late, early. So if you put them both together on Thursday afternoon, then there's got to be Friday afternoon, unless there's other guys, right, that you want to in that spot. So the Tour will tend to pair them up. Now, if both of them play really well and earn the right to be paired together on Saturday and Sunday, right, because it's based on their scores, oh, yeah, I mean, you want to see that right now. I mean, I think the bottom line is I want both of them here, right? If they could both put us on their schedule, you want them in their field. But, the reason why a couple years ago we went to the Tour and said, hey, if there's an opening – we'd love to have our own date instead of being opposite somebody is because you want the opportunity for the best players in the world to be here. And man, I'd love to have both those guys and a bunch of others too, right? So There you go.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Where does Torrey rank in terms of a U.S. Open course?
Oof. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a big golf course. I mean, if you've not been there or looked at it, it's a big course. I mean, the North course is tough, right? But the South course is a big golf course.
It's a bear.
Yeah, and then when you throw U.S. Open rough in, and the greens, it's I can't remember who it was. Back in the 70s, maybe David Fay or somebody said that we don't want to embarrass the world's best golfers. We just want to find out who they are. And I think that's the U.S. Open's kind of mantra every year. So it is a very different course than Marion. The Open was there in 2013. I think it's kind of cool that to see it kind of rotated among some of these classic golf courses. It's a great community. I mean, you got it out in San Diego, and they're a little limited on spectators this year. But it's a big golf course.
So I didn't see all of it. I only saw part of the clip. But there was somebody from the USGA, and maybe it was I think it was their brand ambassador, or not brand ambassador, but director of branding may have been what the guy's title was. And he was talking about the plan for future U.S. Open courses and said that while they want to have a balance between public and private, municipal, and kind of elite places, that they may kind of rein things in a little bit and try to tighten up the rotation. Did I get that right? Does that make sense?
I haven't seen that. I did read some things earlier in the spring where the USGA is establishing a southern base at Pinehurst. And so they're building a facility in Pinehurst and going to have some of their folks there. And I know Pinehurst number 2 is going to be part of any rotation that they put together. So I mean, and there was kind of talk, I think, back then about some type of rotation, but I think they'll, again, not speaking for them because I have no idea what they're thinking, but to sprinkle in a Marion every now and then, or just a course that you don't see it, but they may choose to pick 6 or 7 and just move through it. I mean,
all right, now I'm going to make it really hard on you.
Yeah,
I'm going to make you the executive director of the USGA, and you have to pick 5 and only 5 golf courses in the United States where the U.S. Open rotates for like a 20-year window.
Don't make me do this. I mean, because I'll just make a whole lot of people mad. I mean, but the challenge is in June, right? You've got to look at from an agronomy standpoint, where are you, and from a weather standpoint. I mean, obviously Pinehurst does a phenomenal job.
Okay, so that's one of them.
Okay, so let's go Pinehurst number 2. I mean, you go West Coast. I mean, Torrey's good.
It's got to be Pebble on the West Coast, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's a tough golf course to stage a tournament to, but gosh, the views are incredible, aren't they? You can do it at Pebble. They did a great job a couple years ago. I mean, the West Coast has so many great courses. I mean, Olympia, and I'd love to see a U.S. Open at Riviera.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Then you go, if you want to throw, put it in the Midwest, you go Medina. There's some great courses there. I mean, Crooked Stick in Indy. I mean, I got to throw in Indiana there. I don't know. That'd be hard. That'd be a hard job. I hope that guy makes a lot more than I do, because that'd just be a hard 5 to pick. I hate.
Would you go Bethpage or Shinnecock up in kind of the Northeast in New York?
Yes. I mean,
all right, there's 5. We're done.
There's 5. Okay, all right. I don't know how you pick those, but then you go. Gosh, there's so many great courses. You go to Firestone, and where they haven't been in a few years, and I think the challenge in June is the hot weather. It'd be hard to do a U.S. Open in Florida. But
so that probably takes somewhere like Seminole out of the mix.
Yeah, probably. I would guess it would in June, and I don't know that who knows if they're interested in even having a U.S. Open, right? But that'd be a hard 5 to pick. It'd be tough. Yeah.
This is completely off the radar. So CCJ, Country Club of Jackson, which is the course that you guys play on.
Hey, by the way, I'd throw them in the 5, right? Sanderson Farms Championship has to happen every year, but if we could get the U.S. Open every few years, that'd be great. But go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, we're just going to take them out of the mix for the purposes of this conversation, because that's kind of a slam dunk anyway.
Yeah.
CCJ is featured on TrackMan. Have you had people talking about that?
I do. I do. I've not been on TrackMan. I need to be on TrackMan. Trust me. But I know it's been on there not very long, but it got on there maybe several months ago. I've had some guys mention to me that it's on there now. The crazy thing was I was in Birmingham, about 6 weeks ago, got to meet Nate Bargatze, who's a kind of a southern up and coming great comedian. And we were talking about he loves to play in pro-ams. Might be an invitation out there. We'll see. But he's like, "Are you guys on TrackMan?" And I'm like, "Yes, Nate, we are on TrackMan." So
there you go.
Yeah, there are people talking about it.
No, it's really cool, and it looks fantastic. It's I've got a friend who's got that set up, and it's really, really cool. The graphics are unbelievable.
Yeah, I hear it's great. TrackMan's a little outside of my tournament director budget personally, but maybe one day. There you go.
Yeah, maybe one of these days.
Yeah.
All right, give me a closing thought. I mean, we're still a few months out, but kind of where we are right now and what's got to happen. We've got about a minute left.
Sure. I mean, there's still some things we're trying to figure out, but we're going to have fans back. We're going to have hospitality back. We'd love to have a bunch of volunteers out there to see it from that standpoint. It's going to be a fun week. I think the weather's going to be incredible. I think we're going to have a phenomenal field. And we're trying to beat what we did last year for Friends and Children's and about 50 other Mississippi charities, which was a little over 1.7 million. So that's a goal every year. How much more can we do for Mississippi charities? And I think we could have a pretty good year. I've got no home, State and Ole Miss are both away on our Saturday for the first time in 8 years. You don't have a home football game to go to, come out to the Sanderson Farms Championship. It's going to be fun.
Hopefully you can have an afternoon radio show there again this year like we did a couple of seasons ago.
Yeah, we'd love to have it back.
Steve,
I don't know yet, but I hope so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks so much, man. Always great to talk to you. Look